Hello, and welcome back to Surfing Adversity with Antaeus. I am your host, Antaeus Dalsinos, and for Episode 7 of Surfing Adversity, I am going to talk to you about how to move forward in life when dealing with betrayal. Sometimes we feel as though people have let us down, or even betrayed us by doing something hurtful that may seem out of character for them. However, their actions may not have been as out of character as we think. In Surfing Adversity Episode 2, Living Above Thought, I mentioned everyone always reacts or attempts to navigate life from the level of understanding from which each of us sees life at the time. We cannot do anything more or less than that. Our ego mind creates its own interpretation of who we are, what we are capable of achieving, our strengths and weaknesses, and our abilities and disabilities. This is our conceptual identity. Along with our own conceptual identity, our ego mind also judges and assigns a conceptual identity to those around us, and even people we meet, however briefly, without any sound reasoning or concrete information. It is really quite remarkable that our ego mind can construct a psychological profile of people and ascertain their motivation in life with little to no information, and then accept that assumption as truth. We must take caution not to frivolously judge people, or judge people at all for that matter, as there is always more context than meets the eye. Even when getting to know a person, our ego mind continues to formulate a revised conceptual identity for them. However, the person we are evaluating may be under the positive or negative influence of outside factors, or simply factors of which we are not aware. People who have realized a higher state of awareness have the capability to inspire others to higher levels of consciousness. The ability to be an inspiration is a wonderful gift, yet when the inspiration fades, or is not always available, the other person may be left to his or her old devices. Having the awareness of being emanates a sense of well-being, peace of mind, trust, goodwill, and agape love, which is a spiritual selfless love. This elevated energy has a levitative effect on those with whom we spend our time. Unfortunately, those higher levels of being are sometimes difficult for people to sustain over the long road because of the lack of a firm and necessary foundation of belief, trust, and faith. Subsequently, those we have inspired to a higher level sometimes regress slightly or even revert fully to old habits and old ways of life which we thought they had left in the past, often even catching themselves off guard. I suspect that in many cases those we have inspired to a higher level had no intention of betraying us. They perhaps had not even realized their elevated outlook and awareness was piggybacked on our own higher energy and awareness of being, instead of having its own firm base. The resulting regression is a similar consequence to building a house on the sand. When flooded with negative influences, temptation, or corruption, the positive energy simply washes out from under them. This is not to say the people who have wronged us deserve another chance. It simply means we do not need to carry feelings of betrayal or resentment. Alternatively, people can also pull others down to lower levels of consciousness. Sometimes we can bounce back out of the lower levels of thinking. Other times we can be pulled into a vortex of negativity which is hard to escape. This is why we must be selective when choosing with whom we should spend our time, and also with whom we should not spend our time. The Apostle Paul wrote, "Bad company ruins good morals." And as I added in my book, Into the Light, bad company can also ruin a positive, productive, and happy life. Accept that people exist at various levels of consciousness or awareness, and rather than think they should come up to a higher level, or try to school them to a more elevated state of mind, We need to allow people to be on whatever level at which they exist. Do not condemn them or try to correct their thinking, but have compassion for them and recognize that it is their conditioning that has temporarily obscured their divine essence. Hidden somewhere beyond their ego mind, there lies a love and compassion that will eventually be liberated. An enlightened being has the capacity to love someone even when they seem unlovable. People can only respond to the experiences of life from whatever level at which they exist, and very few people are actually willing and able to escape their own conditioning. So why would we allow ourselves to be pulled down to a lower level by judging or condemning others for not understanding life as we do? We are all part of the same one. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "An eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind." We have the grace and freedom of mind to move forward in life without carrying feelings of betrayal or resentment. Such feelings are a heavy burden we can choose to release our own mind from holding. This grace and freedom of mind also includes the freedom to make mistakes without passing judgment or feeling guilt or shame, but we must endeavor to avoid making the same mistakes moving forward. This freedom must be applied to ourselves as well as to others. Releasing karma involves no longer defining yourself or others by what you or they have done in the past. However, you cannot expect others to not define you by what you have done. That understanding is only given by grace. The point is that we have the freedom of mind to move forward with our own grace, regardless of the judgments and opinions of others. Grace gives us the power to release the heavy burden we otherwise would carry in the feelings of betrayal or resentment. Set down the heavy weights of judgment, betrayal, and resentment. This will lighten your load so you can keep moving forward, surfing adversity and living your wonderful life. Well, that's all for today. Please feel free to contact me through my website, peacefulhappy.life, if you are struggling or even if you are not. None of us need to go through this alone. Until we meet again, have faith and enjoy the whole journey while surfing the adversity. Bye for now.